Hello, my name is Hank Berman.
I'm Jesse Hill.
And our special guest today is the one and only Terry McCormack. Terry and I go way back, from Harleys to music to Tito's.
Lots of Tito's, lots of Harleys, lots of music. How you guys doing today?
Good, brother.
Lots of music. Terry is one of the foremost promoters and bookers of music on the coast, and has worked, he'll tell us, different clubs, and has really done well helping businesses with their entertainment and other things, other capacities as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a one-stop shop. If you need it, if I don't have it, if I don't know about it, we'll find it and put it together.
Right. So tell us, where are you from, and tell us about moving to the coast. And
I'm originally from Lima, Ohio, so yes, I am a Yankee.
Ah,
don't hold it against me. I love it. You see where I picked to stay. I was, I didn't choose to live there. I chose to live here.
there you go.
Hey,
So,
I like that.
I came down here with the military. It'll be 20 years ago in October.
Wow, really?
Air
already?
Force.
Navy, Seabees.
Okay, I got you. Awesome.
So I got down here, and I had no idea what Gulfport, Mississippi was. I'd never even heard of it. And I fell in love with it almost instantly. And I got stationed down here. I left for a couple of years, and Navy sent me away to Greece and Key West, and
That's
they brought
tough.
me. It was hard. Let me tell you, I like my islands, but it was rough.
Yeah.
And then
So tell, and how did you get into the before entertainment, started working in the clubs and restaurants and that kind of thing?
I drank a lot.
Yes.
Fair enough.
That's kind of where I got my start. I just I hung around. I mean, Hank. I mean, this is kind of where you and I met. Was,
Right. Yeah.
The
Well,
good.
we did have that in common.
I mean, the good Logan's days back before.
Yes, Logan's.
Before I started working.
That's right. Logan's.
The whole Logan's
with
crew,
the boys,
the happy hour crew.
Yes, the happy hour crew. With them, it's happy hour 24/7. This was
Always.
a group of guys that hang out in Gulfport.
That was
and
2011, Hank.
That's crazy.
That's when I got back here from Key West. Was 2011.
Wow, I was so much younger then, and so was
Right.
Terry.
So was I.
So much
And so
thinner.
were you,
so much
Jesse.
thinner.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's
But,
right. So
I stuck around for a couple of years with military, and 2014 hit, and it was my time to stay or go in the military after 11 years, and I decided it was time for me to pack it in, and I had zero plan at all. But I'd been doing all the social media marketing and everything for the Stinson Group with Lookout, Salute, Kelly Sports Pub,
right.
all their places, and they were opening the Reef.
Ah.
So they said, hey, why don't you come over to the Reef? You can manage the Sky Bar. And then you saw what the Sky Bar became.
Yeah, it went crazy, man. You did a great job
And
there.
I had zero idea about music on the coast. I mean, I really didn't, other than the bands I love to follow, the bands I love to go listen to. So when they gave me this opportunity, I hit the ground running with it. And I made sure we had top-notch sound. And
That's true. That's very true. That the Reef was one of the very few clubs. I guess that's a club. I guess you could say restaurant slash.
It was a club.
venue.
Well,
It was like an outdoor lounge feel. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it-
Like,
the,
it was
the
coastal.
Reef was more of the restaurant. The Sky Bar was more of the nightclub because we
Yes.
didn't even open until 4 o'clock.
Right.
And, we just had live music.
But it had a
and,
top-notch PA system that you put in.
yeah,
and-
it was all QSC. And
My
really
wife and I
good
went.
stuff.
Steph and I went and watched you play at the Reef. Remember that?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
or the Sky Bar. The Sky Bar.
Right,
was the
yeah.
first time
Yeah.
we were up there. That
Yeah,
was awesome.
well, Terry was
I
running the show.
probably would have been the guy booking there.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and we did so many good things there. So many amazing
A lot
bands
of
came
fun.
through. It's where I got to meet, Whiskey Kiss for the very first time. In fact, that show would have been July 31st. I mean, it's actually coming up on the anniversary of that show.
How do you remember such things?
I have no idea, man. But I just remember because the Sky Bar for the first time and probably since beat the sales for the Reef.
Wow.
It was literally, I think the fire marshal probably would have shut us down had they walked up there. I mean, this was back in Whiskey Kiss's heyday. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Now,
were
Whiskey Kiss. Rephrase my memory because I've heard of that.
they were out of Hattiesburg. It was Sam Donald, Sammy Six, Elise.
I've heard of them, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Elise, and then
Great
Nico, who just recently passed, the drummer
Oh, wow.
a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was their drummer, and I mean it was just pure awesome rock, amazing musicians.
Well, that's also kind of to me anyway, kind of a dying thing is rock.
True.
You know, I mean, certainly on the radio it is, but closer to home. Tell us, because you're connected with that.
You say the rock is dying, but
not that it's dying. Is that I guess I did say that, but it's just not as prevalent.
I wouldn't say it's dying. I would say like business models are moving away from full-fledged rock bands and more like a solo, duo, maybe trio. Just I guess because to save costs. That's what I see.
And that's really the biggest thing is cost.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, my full-on bands always bring a much bigger draw than what my solo duos do. Always.
Oh yeah.
It's just more to it. I mean,
I understand that.
But the places that do have them are primarily a lot of rock. I mean, it's what people want, it's what people know. Because there's people that hate rap, people hate country. Nobody hates rock. Nobody hates classic rock.
There's a band around here, 3HG.
I love 3HG.
I'm about to say it because before I got married, had kids, and didn't go out. Like we would run into them, and they were actually really good. And they would play a lot of pop, but also a lot of rock.
I don't know.
They would mesh.
It's Matt Schnocky and Amber and them.
They would mesh wherever they were at. They would mesh well. They had like a song list for
They have the largest song list on the Gulf Coast.
So yeah, I'm telling you,
hands down.
Yeah,
pop, rock. I don't care what it is. They're the ones who played my $10,000 karaoke contest. The final was a live band karaoke, so you basically got to be the rock star for the karaoke contest, and we put them in the live band. Cool. They got to rehearse, and most of the songs they knew, they had to learn a couple, but to me, musically and set list wise, there's not a better band on the Gulf Coast than 3HG.
Very good.
Oh, I'm glad I mentioned them.
Yeah,
in fact,
absolutely.
I've got Matt and Amber, just their little duo, which they call Lady and Gent. I've got them at the Flamingo on Friday.
Oh, good. Well, and where are you booking these days besides the Flamingo?
So I've got Flamingo, and then I've got Blowfly over there, which Blowfly's back. It's amazing. The food's great. They built underneath the restaurant. It's got a little stage in there. Hank, you've played.
I have played there. It is great.
And people might think, oh my God, it's 100 degrees outside. I can't. Under that building, it's about 15, 20 degrees cooler.
It really is. It's a very strange thing because what Terry had told me, he says, the gig was a Saturday at noon. I think it started at noon or 11. And so I'm like, okay, the way that the humidity has been and, the heat that we're going through. And I get there, and it's this cool breeze, and the slab that it's on is cool.
Yeah.
And, by the way, the great employees there as well.
The employees. The employees kind of make the day, too. They rock out with band. And
they had just built the boat. The boat.
They just opened up their boat dock. It's not a launch. But
I want to say launch, but I
want to say launch too, but no, it's a boat dock to get a pull up. So,
but it's almost like the how the Native Americans did it back in the day out west. I remember going into a ghost town in New Mexico, and it was like 110 degrees outside, and it was those adobe huts, and you walk in and it's 70 degrees.
Oh, wow.
With the mud and the way that it was amazing. Well, anyway, it was a flashback because this is like that. It's very, very comfortable at the Blowfly.
It is. And there's a constant breeze. I don't know where it's coming from because it's surrounded by
just if it was you and I, it'd be hot air, but it wasn't.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you this. My family and I, we stayed in New Orleans for 6 weeks.
Right.
Because my daughter, she had a medical emergency.
I heard about that.
But what's crazy is there was no sea breeze, and it was all concrete. And let me tell y'all, it was 15, 20 degrees. It felt 15, 20 degrees hotter than what it is down here. I feel like we have a constant sea breeze down here that would spoil us to where when we go to different places for a long period of time, we're like everybody talks about South Mississippi heat, but go to a city or something with nothing but concrete and no sea breeze.
All that concrete just heats up. That asphalt
that's
heats
right.
up. There's no shade.
It reflects.
Jackson, Mississippi's the same way. It's like living in a frying pan.
I would try to go walk with my tennis shoes on, and I would feel the heat coming through my shoes. And I was like, man, I would go back. It's almost like you're getting close to walking on a pavement because the heat just kind of comes through. And you're
like being on a scooter when it's 100 something degrees and you put your boots down on the asphalt and you feel it coming through the soles.
And people laugh at me because I don't ride this time of year.
You're talking about motorcycles?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I will ride in snow, sleet, 20 below zero. I've done it when my car broke down in Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't care. But you give me a 106-degree heat index with a 198-degree motor between my legs, you get stuck by a train or,
it's
the
rough.
accident you just saw, you get stuck in traffic.
It's rough.
Your bike's overheating, you're overheating.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
it's just,
how
there's
miserable.
no getting away from it.
It's like going down to Panama City for Thunder Beach, and but it's like all these bikes. I know we're getting off subject, but it's all these all these bikes, and you're stuck in traffic. Well, they're air cooled. They're not water cooled,
Oh,
and
wow.
they're conking out right and left, and you're just
Which is
stuck
the
until it cools
the
off.
one thing I love about California is you can keep driving during a standstill traffic. You can lane split in California
That's right.
legally,
Yeah.
and
Ah.
it protects the bikers because bikers get hit more when they're stopped because people aren't paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
and their bikes can constantly stay cool because they're still moving.
Still moving.
And it takes all those bikes, and the traffic just doesn't get even more backed up.
Is California kind of the only place in the States that kind
It
of
is
do
the
that?
only,
or-
I think them, and I think there's one other place in the states where it's legal. In Mississippi, it's not illegal. The police actually use their judgment on whether or not you're driving recklessly or not. So
Right.
Ah,
if you're
okay.
just kind of cruising,
Well, a lot of those crotch rockets too. They're doing
crotch rockets-
120 miles an hour, zing right past you. and
yeah, it's
like
never guys
you're
on Harleys.
not- no,
No, it's
it's
never.
not.
Guys on Harleys are too cool for that. I'm telling you. Like when I see like a guy on a Harley, I'm like, that guy. He's just cruising. He's
Oh
enjoying
no,
the
I will
ride.
cruise at 160 on my bike, just not through lanes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we got Blowfly, we got Flamingo
Right.
Landing, which is new, out of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
They've definitely got a huge resume behind them. They got 44 bars and restaurants in New Orleans. This is the only one that has live music
Wait, all of that is 44 within New Orleans
in
area.
New Orleans, and they got like one or two in Slidell.
But I mean, still, I didn't know that.
This is
How,
their
wait, how many? What is this?
44?
44 what?
bars and restaurants.
bars.
This company.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and this is the only one that does live music.
that's what was my next question was.
This is the
And it's
only
the
one
only
that does live music.
That's interesting.
There
That
are
is
some more coming though.
Is
to,
that
to
right?
Mississippi and beyond.
Oh, how about that?
Let me ask you a question because I've always seen myself because in my mind, I'm an entrepreneur. But when I sit at a restaurant and I eat good food and I like the atmosphere, I'm like, man, it would be nice to be able to run one of those. Like I always envision like a restaurant. I could set this up.
Oh, where
right
everything's
here,
clicking and
yeah, you know what I
you're-
mean. But then I realized like
You don't see the chaos. That's,
yeah,
that's
well,
the
what
best
what
part.
my question for you is the pros and cons of booking nightclubs, restaurants, music, but also just being a part of that atmosphere because I mean, it takes a very special mindset to be able to run that successfully.
Well, I'll tell you, booking them is the easy part.
Really.
I ran the cannery there for about a year and a half over in Wool Market.
Mhm.
Okay, no,
And
yeah,
You
that,
did
So
a great job
you,
there.
You can imagine what it's like trying to run a live music venue in Wool Market, Mississippi.
that's
you know,
true, and it stayed packed.
But
I
you
mean,
were
we-
very innovative with your ideas too. You
I
did
always
a
think
lot
outside
of
the
things.
box.
Yeah, and it worked. It was very positive. I saw it.
But I couldn't do it. I've got a massive support group, and I've got a ton of friends that just put up with my shenanigans. And most people know that if my name's on something, we're gonna have a good time. It's not gonna be a flop.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the booking part's the easy part. I pick up the phone, I call somebody, I make a couple of Facebook posts and a few events, and as long as the artists show up and like they don't forget their drum kit, life's easy.
That's true.
I say that because it happens.
I
I
ain't
saw them.
saying nothing.
They showed up one time without their drummer.
The guy that without him
They
or her.
they literally they're all set up and everybody's like, I'm like, hey guys, drummer's usually the first one here,
Right.
and we go on in like 10 minutes, and I'm like, where's the drummer? And they're like, did anybody call him?
Oh no.
And apparently somehow I guess he got either missed it in the group text or the group chat, or
Oh,
he had no idea, which was fine. He was 15 minutes away,
Oh, okay.
but his drum kit was an hour away
Oh,
because he didn't have it with
so how did that? Tell me how that unfolded.
him.
I mean, you talk about like a little box.
Nah, because as Hank will tell you, I make sure I plan for most contingencies.
So you had a plan B.
I bought a drum kit about 3 months before. I was like, I'm gonna need this one day, and I had
Boom.
I had an
he
artist.
does that.
I
Yes.
had an artist that owed me some money and for some things that I did for him, and I was like, man, I said, I know you've been trying to sell that drum kit, man. Just trade me out and we'll call it a day. And he's like, sold.
Boom.
And there you go.
Easy day, and I kept it under the stage, and we'd put it up there for when we do like big rotating band stuff. We'd have 4 or 5 bands. We'd leave my drum kit on stage, so nobody had to drag theirs out. And
You know what that's called? experience.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good call. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like buying several mic cords, or
Oh,
like,
yes.
I'm not a musician. I can go to my car right now and pull out XLRs and quarter-inch cables.
Right.
And I can, I can pull out just about anything,
Well,
or I can make it happen, or call somebody.
Right. You're in the know. Absolutely.
And
Experience.
Things happen. I mean, I've had people bring in brand new cords, and he's like, "Dude, you literally took it out of the package, and the cord didn't work."
Yep.
dud.
Or
Damn
my
dud.
favorite is you do a gig, and everything went great. You're packing it all up. You coil it like you always do. The next gig, the next day, or whenever you go to use it, it's dead.
I have the
Or
worst.
it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have worse luck with the cords that go to this on a Bose system, a Bose tower system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes to the sub to the amp. Because I've
Like the
I've
new
gone,
trick.
I've gone through
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them, but the other stuff besides mic cords, I've had them
Yeah.
forever. But that one cord just likes to. I'll turn it on and there's no bass. I'm like, well, there goes my cord. But I always have 2 or 3 in the bag.
Right.
I just throw it away. Put it away.
And you have to.
You have to.
I mean, I just know. I mean, I've had musicians show up. I had a solo kid with a guitar. I was not going to say his name, but he forgot his guitar. He thought his dad grabbed it. His dad thought he grabbed it. They both realized when they got there, like, "Where's the guitar?"
Mm-hmm.
And
I've done that with my iPad a couple times.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'll have my iPad. I'll get there. No, I went to a wedding one time. I was singing while the girl was walking down the aisle, and I get there. I set my Bose system up. I'm like, all right, I got my suit on, and then where's my iPad? I actually left my iPad, must have, on my toolbox on my truck, and it's in a ditch somewhere.
Yep.
And
Done that.
so what happened? I get there. It's at the stable, so the internet is very shoddy. And I pull up my phone and I start downloading these songs. Because I'm only supposed to sing for like 30 minutes, and then the band or the DJ takes over.
It wasn't a 2-hour gig. I mean,
No, if that's the case,
reception.
I would be like
Oh, yeah.
downloading. But what I did was I plugged it in, and I like while she's walking down the aisle, and it's one of those things like it just downloaded, so hopefully it doesn't like stop in the middle and then they buffer. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So I click play. She's walking down the aisle. I'm singing. I'm sweating. And she finally gets down there, and I fade it out. And then I mute everything and I just start download. Everybody's like, let us pray. Let us pray. Everybody's head goes down. I'm like over here.
Let us pray.
Don't call me out, priest.
yeah, let it pray that the internet's working.
Oh yeah, for real.
Which is another thing that I keep now in my bag is the
hotspot.
The hockey. Yeah, hotspot. I keep
smart.
it with me.
That's smart.
And it's I use one called, of course I'm not sponsored by them, but Skyro. It looks like an orange hockey puck, and it's international. It's satellite.
You hear that, Sky Rome? You said
Skyro.
You hear that, Sky Rome? If you're looking for a
That's right.
sponsorship, we'll push you.
That's
we use your
right.
product.
But and I've used
And it works everywhere?
It works everywhere.
Because then I get to some of these venues sometimes, and I was talking with Alex Carr from Envision today, and he's getting married, and I was like, hey, just so you know, there is little to no cell phone service at that wedding venue. And of course, most people are like, oh, that's awesome. Nobody's going to be on their phones.
Right.
Well, the problem is, before the wedding, that 8 hours while everybody's getting dressed, you're forgetting, oh, we forgot ice. We forgot this. We forgot that. Now
Yep.
nobody can call anybody and say,
That's
hey.
right. Well,
And
this
it's
thing,
all the way out there in Wiggins.
this thing is great. You could be in a field in the middle of nowhere, and you will have internet with it. And so I keep it in a lot of places. Well, it's not a lot of places. Apple products, because that's what I use, is another plug that I should be. We
Right.
should be
Yeah,
getting.
Apple. You hear this?
Apple.
Apple for everything.
Yeah, and well, it's like all the other stuff. Once you get your foot in there, they've got you. I mean, you have to anyway. But it eats up your memory of your iPad or your iPhone because it's searching for
A signal.
or searching for the
Roaming. It's roaming.
It's yes, and I've watched my percentage go down like in a half an hour. Wait a minute,
Put it in airplane.
30%
Put it in
down.
airplane mode, Hank.
What's that?
Put it in airplane mode.
Yeah, believe me, I have found out different ways. But anyway, but it's another thing about what we do for a living, or you promoting the same thing on the other side, is be prepared for it. Anything and everything.
Well, it's like, most people who, most people who book bands, they call up, they book the band, they call the venue, here you go, y'all have a nice day, and that's the end of it. I mean, Hank, you know me, I show up to every,
Yep.
I show up to every gig, I make sure everybody's plugged in, I make sure the sound's good, and
Yep.
I hand the artist their check, and I'm out the door.
And that's another thing that I love.
That's awesome.
is just you don't have to chase down your money.
That's something that I've learned many times, like the hard way. And you take weeks, and you just kind of you try to be nice when you're leaving, but sometimes
Well, I understand corporate or some things that, but at the same time, you show up and you do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
30
minutes later.
And and it's like, well, where's, I did my part. So it's like, anyway,
And, and that's where I come, I work with the, I work with the venues really well because I'll pay the bands and then the bands pay me. And then they've only got one 1099 at the end of the year to worry about.
Right.
And their accountant loves it.
Very
That's smart.
That is.
So now, mind you, I've got 40 of them to worry about, but I've also got 3, 4, 5 venues, but they're all the same 1099.
So hold on, let me ask you a question. So are you employed by these companies or are you contracted?
I am contracted.
And you're a contractor?
I am basically a vendor, contractor, however you want to put it.
And when you say a vendor, like you seek out these bands, like I'm just trying to think of, is there a difference between a promoter or an agency, or is it kind of the same?
So promoters are going to really just promote the show, pay for the show, and then take a big portion of the show. What I do is, because obviously, the restaurants aren't charging cover charges to get in for brunch and lunch and dinner. So they're just relying on hopefully these having enough draw to where they're paying at least, the band and everything else. So there's just more than just the same playlist that plays over and over again.
True.
So I'm just kind of the buffer between the band and the restaurant.
Yeah.
Where half the restaurants now don't even know who, they don't even question who's playing anymore. I give them a list every month, and here's who's going to be at your venue and the dates, and I make all the Facebook events.
That's a good business model.
Yeah,
for a local area like this.
Well, I also like what you were saying, that a promoter promotes the event, the venue, an agent promotes the artist,
and
that's it.
I do both. I mean, you've seen it. I do. Yeah. I go a little bit above and beyond, and maybe what I should do, what other people do, but I love doing it.
And do you have bands or artists seeking you out, or do you usually find them? Or both ways.
I'll have them call me all the time. Hey man, we got double booked. Do you have anything for me? Or hey, we got canceled because of weather. You got anything? And there's a lot of last minute stuff sometimes.
Or what about people that have heard of you and say, hey, I'm so and so, and we have a new band, or I'm a new artist and doing solo or duos.
We want to try out for you.
That happens.
Can you help us?
That happens all the time. A lot of new artists. I love new artists, and I love original music. So I encourage original music at the venues, because you can get away with original music at a restaurant more than you can everybody's out dancing, partying, hanging out, and they're like, I don't know this song, I'm going to stop dancing, which is great because then they go to the bar and order drinks. But
it's a win-win. It's a win-win situation.
It is a win-win, but it's also man, nobody's listening to the music. It's I don't know that song. And the Coast is notorious for loving their cover bands. I mean, it's
absolutely you're right.
They're not huge on there is their faction down here that supports the heck out of original music, but for the most part, if you get you a cover band, you look at Molly Ringwald's, Chiwi's, Bag of Donuts, the Mustache Band.
Yeah,
they all got their little sticks, and they're getting outrageous money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then otherwise you got a guy down here who's some of the best musicians on the Coast playing original music. $300.
Right. Yeah.
That's
true. You're right. And the Coast, with that, also covered charges. The history of the Coast. Now, I'm not talking about now or whatever, but the Coast has always been a place there. When I was growing up and all, and even when I was starting to play music, a $5 cover charge. Oh no, we're not going to go there. But a 2-drink minimum. Hell yeah. And you get them that way. How you market it and present it, but
it is.
They don't like paying coverage.
They do not. I fought that at the cannery so hard, so hard. I'm like, look, guys. I was like, and everybody's like, well, you didn't make your money off alcohol and beer, and I'm like, okay, great. So your $8 Crown and Coke that you love is now $10, and you're gonna drink 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, and now you just paid $15 when you could have just paid me 10.
Right.
People don't realize that $10, nine times out of 10, it doesn't even pay for the entire band.
You're right.
But it takes a huge portion off of the venue.
Right.
Because when I do increase the drink sales in some places that do that, we charge, everything goes up $1 when we have a live band,
Yeah.
Well, also that, they're paying taxes on that $1. They're, so that $1's now,
it's dwindling.
92 cents.
Dwindling down.
Yeah. This, that, and the other. Now I got to go to the bank and drop that money off. I mean, it's just, give him the $10.
P&L, right?
Now, do you have like sort of a team, or is this pretty much all on you?
It's pretty much all on me, but I've got a heck of a group of friends who just literally share everything I got, and I mean,
Do you have like your own sound guys that kind of?
I do. I use some amazing sound guys. Usually J Eagle Audio is my go-to. He has created a team down here that is second to none.
What's it called again?
J Eagle Audio.
J Eagle Audio.
Yeah, he was in a band called Boys to Bend, which is a Breaking Benjamin tribute band. He was playing with Haley Green there for a while, and
So Haley Green, she's wait, am I thinking Haley Green, the right one?
there's only one Haley Green.
She's the young St. Martin girl.
She's the 17-year-old off in the
Voice.
voice.
That's right. I see.
Yep, yep.
I followed her. I support her. She's doing good
I had
things.
asked her about the show, and she said she wanted to come on the show, but I hadn't heard back from her. But
Haley,
I think
come
she'd
do
be
the
good.
show. Don't make me call you.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
She's a St. Martin. I think my sister-in-law taught her.
Oh, is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah, she's graduated now. She's off to college. She's off to college this month.
Good for her.
Yeah, she's
Wow.
going up to USM.
Mhm.
Her and Six String Andrew, they're both actually headed up there.
Yeah.
Six String Andrew. I like that kid.
Who doesn't love Andrew? man?
We
He
had
is-
him on. He was a lot of fun, and
That
his
son of a gun,
mom and
he's-
dad are great people.
Oh,
very
they are
talented.
the best. They
Yeah.
go to every single show.
That's awesome.
But he has a wealth of knowledge for someone his age too.
He has a resume of people he's played with that's
Yeah.
unparalleled on the Gulf Coast.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody on the coast who's played with, the talent that he's played
Buddy
with.
Guy and all those guys. and
Buddy
stuff.
Guy, Joe Bonamassa. I mean,
That's
he's
awesome.
either been with them, hung out with them, taken workshops from them.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Chris Kingfisher, close. I mean, Samantha Fish knows him by name.
Yeah.
It's like
Cool.
all these people know who he is,
Yeah.
and they see him now. Because when I met him, I mean, he was 15. He's off to college now, and first time I heard him, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
and he's phenomenal.
I was doing the what's the alley
Fishbone Alley
Fishbone Alley, and he was playing, and that's where I met his mom and
for
dad and him.
cruising,
And
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just a little kid, but yeah, man, he's
They
good.
shared. We had his episode. His parents shared. They were like, "Thank you
Yeah.
so much." They were grateful. I was like,
Oh,
"This
they-
is cool."
they
dude."
are
And he played. He was the
nicest
first one
people.
that we actually had perform
Yeah,
on
we
the
actually
show.
we recorded him.
Yeah, we recorded. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, he's. I've booked Andrew for years, and we got a great relationship. And me and his mom cut up all the time. She's a blast.
He's
and,
good. He's a good person.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He does a lot of my charity stuff. Whenever I
does
have
he?
like some kind of a fundraiser, he's always the first one to
Nice.
to jump at it. And
Now, what is the music scene of the Mississippi Gulf Coast like? How long have you been here?
I've been here 20 years in October.
Okay, so I mean, you've seen a good evolve, of the Gulf Coast. Like, where do you see it going in the next 10 years?
I'd say the one thing I want to see is I want to see a recording studio on the Gulf Coast.
Thank you.
A really nice. These people are traveling
Yes.
all the way up to North Alabama to get great recordings. I mean, we've got people down here that have been session players.
We got Jesse with
know?
the studio too.
What I'm
right
saying
there.
is, we got this space right here. We're also talking about this other room right here. Maybe not getting into this
Really?
room. So what I'm saying is, like, this is the heart of one of the most popular cities in the nation, small towns in the nation.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're trying to build something for, songwriters, cover band, anybody who wants to come here and lay down a track to show a demo or whatever. But like,
and name bands as well would like it down
and
here.
so
Oh,
I'm
man.
teaming up with a guy, Christopher Duncan. He is he graduated from Delta State Sound Engineering. He ran the Grammy Museum Sound up there.
Okay,
And
wow.
he's actually doing a lot of the sound for the theater, but this guy's a genius. And so he wants to come in and partner with me on the music side. So I do more podcasts, film, photography, because I own a marketing agency, but he is all about sound. And so we want to work him in here, set this place up so where if a band wants to get together and lay down some tracks or whatever, like they don't have to go to Nashville or
Muscle Shoals or-
Muscle Shoals.
Muscle Shoals, yeah. And I'd say that's one of my biggest my biggest obstacles is I'll get a band or a solo artist. I'm like, hey, send me something. And they'll send me a photo that looks like it was a shot, taken with a potato from 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Or they'll send me a video shot on a Nokia from 2004. And I'm like, guys, do you not have a friend with a camera or a phone or like,
Right.
Well,
just
I
a
mean,
simple couple
even
of
in
nice
the
photos?
even in the studio, we can actually like film them performing whatever they're performing in a high quality
Yeah.
4K. We can actually take their headshot. We can actually put them on Spotify, Apple Music, all of it, and record them in
It's
here.
an
Like,
EPK,
we're-
electronic
we're
press
working
And
our-
honestly, that was my whole thing was like want to be able to put together EPKs for just small things.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's a couple of songs. Here's a quick little promo video, And, you know, because you'll get people who, oh man, we packed the place out. And every time, as soon as I hear that, they send me the same video. Them on stage at Glory Bound. Because Glory Bound is packed. I can.
They want shoulder to shoulder. They want it to be like, yeah, you know.
You know, and I can get up there with
I
can get up there with a triangle, and Glory Bound's still going to stay packed. And you're like, this guy sucks.
Terry McCormack on Triangle
fun.
On Friday nights, ladies and gentlemen.
You know it.
Ding, ding.
But and they always send me that. I'm like, send me one other venue where it's that busy, like just one, and we'll talk.
Right.
But no, they, you know, there's a lot of these bands, they just don't have the opportunity, you know, the funds,
or the know-how.
I yelled at Matt and Amber from 3HG about getting professional photos, like, guys, because they don't take a serious photo to save their life. They're all making goofy faces, and I'm like, guys, come on, just give me one. And they actually went out recently and they got a bunch, and they look awesome, and I could use them all day long.
Yeah,
that's my biggest
Jesse
problem.
does that for people.
And like bios, like trying to get a band to put a bio on their page that I can just copy and paste.
Right.
Where I don't have to like make up like who they are, what they play, what they do.
Here's the thing too that I've been thinking with Hilltree Marketing. We've built over 100 websites for the Gulf Coast, like big business stuff. And I built my music website. And like your website's only as good as the photos and content that you put on there. So you can have all the information, all the wording's perfect, even the music would be perfect. But if you have like a grainy cell phone video from 2011, it's not engaging. And so that's something I would even talk to my team about for certain artists or certain musicians. Like, hey, we can make you here's a very reasonable, you know, cost to put you on the website so people can actually book you through your website or read about you, or you want to post some music on their videos, have at it. Like, I think there's so many, it's almost like I do marketing for a dentist. The dentist is a genius. He's got the best technology. He's got the best equipment. He can do a cavity without touching you with the tool. It's all laser. But he doesn't. Right. But he doesn't want to set up. He doesn't have know-how of setting up a website or social media or Google. Yeah. So what I do is I come in there, and so like even like musicians, there are some great musicians down here, songwriters.
Yeah. Oh,
Brandon Green can write a heck of a song. Hank Berman can write a heck of a song.
Carrie Lane. I mean, I'll literally call her like, I need a song about this. There's a douchebag in the bar, and she'll literally send me a track. She'll send me a track like 7 minutes later, and I'll play it on the house system. This guy's like, "Is this about me?"
That's amazing.
This guy, he walks up all the time. We're at a bar.
This is specifically about someone,
somebody in the bar, and this guy does not tip at all, and he's like demanding, and he's just. So I was like, I need a song about bad tippers. I swear to God, not 30 minutes later, she sent me like a 5-minute song about a bad tipper.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm like, okay, we're just going to play this.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a more streamlined way of putting them on like Spotify, like immediately, like, you know, without a 4-week waiting period.
Right.
But
we can actually do it. I mean, it's not a 4, it's usually a half a day waiting period. We can get them on there pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, so like, and she'll do it. Andrew's got a heck of a, you know, he writes a heck out of some songs.
Yeah.
Haley Green's writing more and more now. Savannah Ray, Savraya, which Savraya now, she's back from Nashville, putting an album together, and she writes so different than anybody else down here, and it's so quick.
How so? What do you mean she writes different?
It's just a different style. I guess it's a little more kind of like popish meets country versus a little more electronic kind of music behind it.
That's a really interesting genre.
You know, you can find it on Spotify under Savraya, but it's got really great.
We had Katie Jones on this podcast, and she actually recorded one of her originals, and she had some really, like, her lyrics were deep. Her
and Caroline are writing some stuff together right now. They're working on some stuff, but I met Katie the first time at the Crawfish Festival this year.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that's right. She was going to play after the podcast.
That was like the big announcement.
She opened up for Bailey Zimmerman, and I mean, just rocked it.
Yeah, good for her.
I mean, what's crazy is we're spouting off all these names, and that just shows you the talent that's down here.
And that's not even. I mean,
and it's like
I've probably got 100 numbers in my phone right now. It's like, you know, somebody doesn't show up.
Yeah,
I can pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
I don't know when that happens, but you know.
Jeez,
but no, I mean, and it does. I mean, there's always just somebody.
Yeah.
You know, looking for a gig, and there's always that one guy that drives me nuts that I could never get anything from. Like, he doesn't send me anything. But his number's there. So once in a while, I can't get a hold of anybody else. He gets that call. I'm like, hey man, now's your chance.
I love your whole thing about the goal in 10 years, like having a professional recording studio that people can go to that honestly I think people would travel to from Hattiesburg or because you got a nice one in Jackson, of course Delta State, you got the Nashville, you got the Muscle Shoals, but down here it's
but you got to travel up there, spend the night in hotels. You got
and some people will move to Nashville and starve to try and get a shot, and people who work at McDonald's flipping burgers in Nashville can sing their butt off. Everybody in that town's waiting for a break.
We'd had this conversation before on the show about somebody, a musician from Bay St. Louis back in the day, who was extremely talented guitar player and songwriter, and went to Nashville. Big send off with a very popular band at the time, and came back. Going to make it big. Came back 6 weeks later, and kind of a very quiet return to the coast. And we asked him what happened. He says, when I found out that the guy working at the 7-Eleven could play Rings Around Me, and he can't get a gig anywhere, it is who you know.
But there's a lot, like down here with, you got the casinos, you got all the bars, promoters, like there's opportunity. But what's sad is some of these people feel like when they start gaining momentum, well, their next step is to move off somewhere. Yeah. And it's like, man, what if you just stayed here and get that momentum and build your gigs, raise your price?
It's kind of that not cliche, but that kind of like Loretta Lynn, her and her husband going from radio station to radio station and sleeping in the car and got to go to Nashville to make a big. Those days are gone.
They're gone.
They are. But you know what's crazy is though, you don't need to do that anymore.
That's right.
You got TikTok on your phone.
Yeah.
I brought three musicians down here that I found on TikTok, and they blew up during COVID because they had nothing else to do but write and make music and make TikToks 3, 4, 5 times a day. And between the three of them, they had 12 million Facebook followers.
That's crazy.
And I called them. I said, hey, you're passing through. They're on their way to Southport Music Hall in New Orleans. And I was like, y'all want to come in and do an acoustic show, a couple hours? And they're, at the Cannery, and they're like, nah, man, that's 8 shows in a row. We need a break. I was like, not a problem. Something happens, let me know. That was on a Wednesday. On Sunday, Zeta hit. On Monday, I called and said, hey, your venue's underwater and not going to have power for 30 days. You want one?
There you go.
I mean,
opportunity.
And I'll tell you, they're like, let us call some people. I'm like, you can't, but go ahead. Because, if you don't live here, you don't pay attention to the hurricanes. I've realized that. Like, I don't even, like, it.
Yeah.
I think about back in the day, and I never cared about a hurricane living in Ohio. It didn't bother me one bit.
Right, sure.
And so I called them. They called me back on Wednesday. They're like, okay, what can you do for us? We're haggling over numbers. And I mean, the show's on Sunday. And here it is Wednesday, and we're still arguing over numbers. Not arguing. We're just kind of like, hey, what can we come to?
Yeah, right.
Finally, I was like, look, guys, here's my deal. I'll give you $500, and I will give you 100% of the door. Like, I don't care about the door. I just want this show. And I want to make all the liquor and beer sales that I can.
Right.
And they were like, they called me back on Thursday. They're like, you know what? That'll work. If nothing else, we're guaranteed to at least make $500. Plus, we'll get some at the door. Let's do it. Tickets went on sale Friday. We were sold out on Saturday. And they showed up. It was standing room only. And there was hundreds of people we were turning away because we couldn't fit them in the bar anymore.
Wow.
And all 3 of them, and that was it'll be 2 years in September. All 3 of them have played the Grand Ole Opry since then. Alex just had a big hit and a big new video come out and just opened for Jelly Roll like 2 days ago.
Oh wow.
And they've been opening for John Michael Montgomery, they've been opening for Tim McGraw. I mean, just
what's their band name?
Well, they're all 3 different. You got Alexander K, and then you got Thomas Mack, which is an Ohio boy, so I love that guy. And then you got Cooper Allen.
Wow.
And that, I mean, I got those guys for $500 in the door. I call them now, and their booking agents are like, Terry, I know it's you, but $30,000.
Wow.
You can't get all 3 of them in the same room for less than 60, 70 grand.
Wow.
And
it's a good problem to have.
And here's the thing is Alex had a record deal and it fell apart. She had a TV show. It fell apart. Didn't make it on The Voice. And she just woke up one day and started making coffee on TikTok and singing along, making coffee. And
that took off.
And that's all it was. And then Cooper, he rewrites a bunch of rap songs and country songs, like Afro Man's Colt 45. He makes it all about Busch Light in Copenhagen, and that's just it. But I mean, they all have publishing deals. They're all amazing writers. So
wow.
They all belong to this publishing house up in Nashville called the 615 House, and they all just sit around and write together and make content together, and and it's absolutely phenomenal what they've done, and they've done it, and they're all still independent artists.
Yeah.
And that's what
cool.
I love, is because it's like, it's been kind of a big middle finger to the radio in Nashville and everything else, because it's like because it used to be, hey, we'll do all this for you. We'll just take a big cut of the money.
98%.
Well, now it's like, oh, you don't have 2 million followers. We don't even want to talk to you. Like, you've done all the work already. So it's like, well, if I've done all the work, what do I need you for?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And unfortunately, they've got the access to the big venues, the big shows, the big,
That's right. And in the old days, it was the recording thing where the RCA or whoever it would get you, because, okay, we're going to give you $1 million to record this record.
But
well, then you owe them forever.
Yeah.
Then your next record, and it's like sharecropping, or so you never get out from under it. You always owe, and but those they've lost that with
and they
media.
have, and they've said
they're still there.
Yeah,
of course,
they're starting to revamp the way they do things.
They have to,
because they keep saying, "Oh, TikTok's not going to sell," and that was Cooper Allen's big thing. Because I kept telling him, TikTok's not going to sell tickets. TikTok's not going to sell tickets. Well, now he's on his own tour and he's selling out all these shows. I mean. And it's just like, well, TikTok does sell tickets. I mean,
social media is a powerful, powerful tool, and it's changed a lot of the industry. And when I say even social media, I'm talking about like the ability to upload to Spotify or Apple, put your music on Apple Music to where people can stream, and you hit a good song, boom, you've done it.
And all it takes is something, Lainey Wilson. Oh, she's on Yellowstone, and now look at her. You can't touch her for. $500,000 for a show.
Yeah.
And they just picked her up because she was doing well. They liked her look. They like her sound. Put her on Yellowstone. And now it's like.
What's her character is she on Yellowstone?
She's the singer that one of the cowboys falls in love with. And she's on several episodes. And she's just doing her music, but they found one of her songs.
And they
were like, hey, we want to do this song. And then it was kind of like well, you want to be on it kind of thing. And
there's so much content too. Think about all the shows. Think about all the stuff, Netflix and all the streaming channels.
And
they're creating things that will bring opportunity to, hey, we like your sound. Come get on our show. And that one moment could be your moment.
There's hordes of people out there for TV and film that are just listening to music nonstop, trying to find.
Right.
And a lot of times, like with TikTok, if you find that one right song that everybody does a dance to, and all of a sudden 70 million people dance to it, and it's got all those shares and likes, they tend to see that a lot more. They're like, hey, let's put this in the movie. Let's put this on the show.
Right. One of the things, too, is the advent of streaming, not networks, but like Netflix or whomever, where it used to be, and COVID had something to do with this, because the production stopped in Hollywood or wherever, New Orleans. They make a lot of movies in New Orleans. So it stopped. So people had to stay home, so they had Netflix or they had Hula or whatever. And how many shows now that you see are specifically on those particular networks? I mean, it was a culmination of things that arrived at that.
And it's happened again because the writers are on strike.
That's right.
Well, yeah, the writers are on strike now.
They're on strike, and people still want their stuff. And if
it wasn't for COVID,
YouTube,
would any of us watch Tiger King?
No, see, there you go.
Would any of us known who Joe Exotic was without?
Let me tell you something. That was the. You got to think of the perfect storm. Everything for that show. That show would have not done well.
You're right. See, that's
without
what
COVID.
I'm talking about.
I think they were sitting on that and just waiting for something to happen.
They had to, because when I watched that one, it was so ridiculous. But I watched it again not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Just listening to what he said.
Yeah.
And his music videos, and I was like,
oh man,
oh my gosh, this guy. And you know what? He can't even enjoy all the fame because he's been in jail the whole time. And it's like, they were begging Trump to
pardon him on his way out the door.
I was like, is Trump about to pardon this guy?
Dude, I would have loved it. It would have just been a culmination of everything. Let's do it. I mean,
I'm waiting for somebody to come out with a really good documentary of 2020 because wow.
That's a good idea.
Idiocracy?
Yeah,
they already have that.
That was the craziest year.
Yeah.
That when you think about it, it's like that happened, and it's almost like we just kind of like. It felt like remember when Katrina hit? Katrina wiped out everything, and for for that year and years a little bit past rebuilding, but then after that you just don't want to hear about it. You don't want to talk about it.
Right.
You can smell the smell and all that.
It's like an ex-wife.
Yeah.
Well,
you just don't want to hear.
But 2020 has that feeling like we've kind of like forget almost. I mean, I know we haven't really totally forgot, but it's almost like we look back. We're like, we went through that, and we
Well,
also like fell for a lot of things.
It's not a
and
very
now
good
we're-
memory.
Well,
No.
no, but everything for the longest time was pre-Katrina, post-Katrina.
Yep.
Now it's
Well, to this
post-Katrina,
day,
pre-COVID.
to this day, it's still
Exactly.
the storm.
Yeah, the storm.
Well, it was after the storm. Was it before the storm? Was it after the storm?
Oh, I do that all the
And
time.
it's the storm is Katrina.
We're about to hit 20 years since Katrina.
That's
what's
insane.
That's
That
crazy.
has flown by that much.
20 years. What is it? 20
Talking
years
about
will have 20.
COVID too, that we went through that, and I can still remember seeing on webcam stuff, Times Square, where there was no, it was like a Twilight Zone episode.
So I lived in New Orleans.
that happened.
I lived in New Orleans during COVID, and I got so many pictures of me and my Harley down on Bourbon Street in front of empty, just
Nothing.
not a single soul in sight.
That's bizarre.
And it was eerie. It was like watching like those zombie movies you see when
Yeah.
like they're in Atlanta and there's just nothing, and you're like,
Oh, you could have got some really good shots, probably.
Oh, I
Oh,
got-
that would
I
have been
got-
great.
Like a drone or something like that, just flying in an empty
oh,
city.
there's so many out there.
That's
If
amazing.
you start looking like New Orleans like photos during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
they're absolutely beautiful and eerie, and like it's just
Well, it plays
it was
into the
weird.
whole ambiance of New
It do-
Orleans,
it
the
does.
voodoo and the whole.
It does, but
Oh.
you're just like, what is this right now? It's
Yeah.
quiet. I mean, it used to be I could walk down Bourbon Street and never stop hearing Sweet Home Alabama, and now I don't hear it at all. And
Yeah,
then,
the good old days.
And then you don't hear any like being down in the corner and not hearing a single
Nothing.
instrument was just weird.
Even the rats packed up and left.
Yeah, I mean they
I
did.
mean,
They didn't have any food.
That's
they,
true.
had, they had no food to eat.
Cannibalism.
No,
Oh,
but that's.
man.
I mean, I'm waiting for a good documentary or something like that to come out. But what's crazy is the TV networks controlled everything for the longest time, and then streaming started during. I mean, I remember Disney Plus coming out
Yeah,
during
yep.
COVID, but also like Spotify and all that stuff started really coming out. But then look at Joe Rogan with his podcast.
Oh,
Like, it
God.
Yeah.
blew that he became more popular than all the national news networks, and people
Yeah.
now
And it
get
pissed them off.
It pissed them off, and they attacked him. What I'm saying is like, in the past, let's say 5 years, because pre-COVID, post-COVID,
Right.
Yep.
like how much has changed. And I would even say the same with music industry. Like there are more people coming out on top with TikTok. There's that one girl who sang that song, I remember when,
Yeah.
and then she hits that high note. That girl has got millions of followers now.
Oh, yeah.
Millions.
It's-
Just by singing in an empty parking garage. And she kills it. She sounds great. And I followed her and
Well, she got you.
well, I was like, she's got a great voice, and so
Yeah,
I'm
she
listening to
got
all
you.
this stuff, and she's hit it like huge, and she's independent, and that's to me is
and I
amazing.
love independent artists when they get to stay independent and they get to keep all their own masters and
And all the shows, the American Idol, like I try to watch it not too long. It was
and aside from Carrie Underwood and Kelly Clarkson, nobody who's won has done anything
no
because they own all their likes, all their name, they own everything.
Right.
You can't get a decent deal because you say, if I win, this is what I'm going to do. And then the devil's over there writing the pen for you, and then you win. But I mean,
Right.
you look at people like Chris Daughtry, who didn't win American Idol, but the year he got voted off, the next year his number one song was a song that people went home to. And he was out doing big things.
Right. What was the artist who won America's Got Talent? It was like the first one. He was from Mississippi, Waveland Boy.
Oh yeah.
Sang a killer Otis Redding. He was just, but what is his name? My dad loves him. He sometimes plays around here.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Gee, that's sad. None of
It
us
is.
know.
That's-
But what is
horrible.
what they try to screw him. He
They
won. He
do.
won
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi Boy, and you thought, man, this guy's good. He's gonna bring the blues back.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to screw him, and then he says, "I'm not doing it." And they said, "You will never play on the national stage." And they pressed his thumb to him and everything, and now he plays locally. But what's cool is he didn't sell out. Like I feel like
He held his own.
I'm pulling up this guy's name because
So you got. I never got big into America's Got Talent, but I mean, what was American Idol this year? We had 3 people from Mississippi.
yeah.
In the top 3.
My wife
top
knows
5.
all who it is, and I
Oh,
don't.
yeah.
I don't
I mean,
know.
We've had several people down here. Danica Steakley was, on American Idol. You got, Carrie Lane, Brandon, Haley Green. They're all, they were all in The Voice or American Idol or something along those lines. And,
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna find.
Yeah, there's a ton of musical talent down here. I mean, I drive Uber in my spare time when I'm bored, like when things start slowing down. And my car, when I'm driving Uber, I just play local music. I'll put some, your stuff on Spotify. I'll put on Andrew's stuff. If you're a local artist and you've got stuff on Spotify, I will play it in my car when I drive tourists around for Uber.
That's cool.
And I got a little sign in the back of on my seat that says, "Hey, if you like the music, it's all local. Ask me about it." And
nice, smart. Well,
but there's nothing more I love when I get somebody in my car and I'm driving Uber and they're like, "Hey, you don't happen to know where we can get into live music, do you?" I'm like, "Man, did you get in the right car?"
boy.
And I'll tell you, musically, like Ground Zero has done so much for the coast. With
Michael Grimm.
Michael Grimm.
Michael Grimm. He won.
Yes,
he won season 5, and they tried to screw him. And
man!
And he was like, "Nope."
Yeah. Very few people would stand their ground on something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to stare at that many zeros and be like, well,
yeah,
I guess I can do that for 2 years, 3 years. Let me just ride this out and then do what I want to do.
Right. But you were talking about Ground Zero. Yes, they've done.
Ground Zero, man. It's just they are doing so well over there. And
yeah.
They're bringing so many acts that nobody else on the coast, because the coast. I tell everybody all the time, there's 3 Mississippis. You got the Delta and the Blues and everything up there. And then you got, Jackson in that area.
Right.
And then you got the coast.
Right.
And the coast isn't like the Delta. Yeah, we like our blues, but it's not like we don't love the blues. Like
they live the blues up there too.
God.
That culture. And yes, but you're absolutely right. We're different down here. We're like from New Orleans to Panama City is a whole different entity.
We have more of a
for
French,
the rest
French
of their
culture
states.
Vibe.
Yeah,
and mixed in with you got to think, what was it? I did a study of this in Mississippi, and it was like after Vietnam, and you had the Vietnamese people come over here, and the shrimp industry and everything. It became a true melting pot that worked.
Oh yeah,
because you got to think about the Catholic. We have such a Catholic.
It was predominantly Catholic. The coast was,
but
absolutely.
The rest of Mississippi was pretty hard Baptist. My mom was from North Mississippi and Boonville and Olive Branch, but down here it's a melting pot that works.
You're right.
It's almost like,
and then you got the 2 military bases on top of that.
You're bringing people in
everywhere.
You're bringing people from Ohio.
Well, you're one of them.
I'm one of them.
How many military? My dad retired here.
There's so many people that I've met that said, they've been here for years. And I'm like, so where are you from? And they're like, you say I have a different accent. Oh, I was Air Force or Navy.
Right.
I live here now. And it's like really cool to think. And it's been a good secret for a long time, but it's starting to get out.
It is.
The movie industry is realizing, because they just shot a movie with John Travolta at the Pearl.
I watched, Bob Granieri showed me the post-production trailer.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I saw it.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
It is awesome. I'll show it to you.
Well, we had Samuel L. Jackson do a movie here with Ruby Rose, and they shot it all down in Fishbone Alley.
And what's crazy is
Bruce Willis.
And the reason why is because
that's right.
You go to California or New York or anywhere with a lot of those places are set up, or Orlando, it's like it costs an arm and a leg
That's
when
right.
they come here.
Taxes.
And they're like, wow, this is really cheap. We can save a lot of money. So if this is a flop, we're not going to be so deep under. But people are starting to realize that now.
The scenery's pretty nice down here too.
It is.
Oh, it is. But you just gotta look. You can get almost any scene you want with swamp and beach and you got rivers and ocean and
you go to where they have blue water, which is Destin or Gulf Shores. I mean, you got to go around
or past Ship Island.
Ship Island. That's
just
exactly what I was
Ship
saying.
Island.
But go out there, do it.
What I'm saying is you got to go around all those condos to get any kind of beach vibe or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you really want to get an alligator in your shot, just kind of
wait.
Go through Gulf Hills.
Yeah, wait.
We had one on 90 down by the. This week there was one just chilling on 90, 6-foot alligator.
If you want some cowboys, just go about 20 or 30 minutes up north. You'll see some guys just
just go to
Socher. Go to Socher. You got that nice big old white water tower.
We got Gaucher, and we have Socher. I never have understood the.
Yeah.
Why isn't it
Socher? When I was growing up, I thought it was like Godier.
Right.
And then it was Gaucher.
Yeah.
Well, come on. I mean,
it adds to the
I tell people all the time, people in New Orleans drink the way they drink because it's like, you live in New Orleans? No, I live in New Orleans.
Right.
What parish is that? Orleans.
That's right.
That's funny.
That's funny. You're right.
That is the epitome of why they drink.
Orleans Parish in New Orleans.
Yeah.
But
it's Orleans.
Oh, you know what bugs me too is Nolo. Somebody from Wisconsin. No offense, Wisconsin, but Nolans.
Nolans, yeah.
N-A-W-L-I-N-S.
Freaking TV, man.
Nolans, that's right.
So
man.
I want to ask y'all this. So the acronym for the state, I'm not going to say the state, but NV, how do you say it?
Mm-hmm.
The state.
I know. Is it Nevada or Nevada?
Yeah.
Nevada or Nevada. Yeah,
what do you say?
Nevada.
Potatoes.
You say Nevada?
Yeah.
I say Nevada.
I say Nevada.
I say Nevada. So that's interesting. Oh, okay. Because I had that problem because we were doing a voiceover for somebody who was winning like an award, and they did a lot of work in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I submitted it. Everybody, even the lady who was editing it, was like, everything sounds good, but then right before the show, they were like, it's pronounced Nevada. And so I had to go on my phone and be
Nevada.
like, Las Vegas, Nevada, and bounce it, cut it. And then I was like, I pulled it off, but I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I guess so. I guess it's like how we were just talking about. That's just hilarious. No,
It's New Orleans,
but it's.
Orleans Parish.
I never thought about that.
yes.
Oh man. Well,
Yes.
welcome to the South. Welcome to our South. That's great.
That is great. That's great. No, we lived in Metairie, old Metairie.
I lived in Metairie.
We lived in Old Metairie right there by this place called Moe's Barbecue. Man, it was so good. But that's where we lived for 6 weeks, and got to. One thing I loved being there because of Oshner's. It was a great hospital, great doctors. But one thing I don't miss is always having to have my phone and watch Google Maps as I drive. Like right when we got home, the best thing was like knowing the roads and stuff.
Sure.
Like that. Because there's so many ins and outs.
Well, that, and I'll tell you though, I know Metairie like the back of my hand. I still put the maps on just because they're really accurate on where all the traffic and roadblocks
That's
are.
true.
That's
That's
yeah.
true.
Like, because there's always, it doesn't matter, there's always a wreck. Just count on there being a wreck, you know?
Bro, that toll bridge right off, like in Covington going to
Oh,
New
yeah.
Orleans, I didn't know how great that thing was, but I will pay that toll every time.
Yeah.
It goes right up.
For
to
the
where we-
longest time, they talked about making a toll both ways, and I'm just like, whatever. Like,
Right.
drive around if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, anyway.
It's got their own police force. Like, people don't realize that.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they got their own police force.
For that toll?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for telling me.
Well, no, like on the bridge itself is its own.
Entity.
Yeah, it's
How about that?
27 miles.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So let's talk about anything coming up. Anything you want to promote that's coming up, or anything that you want to see within this next year, or if you want to put a
Let's see
shout
what
out.
we got coming up. Children's got Fresh for Pets coming up, which is raises money. They're doing a big thing. I think that's Friday or Saturday. Can't remember off the top of my head. I'm not involved in that one, but a lot of the bands that
This weekend.
it is this weekend. Yeah, go check it out. It raises money for a great cause at the
We're-
Jig Joint.
Tonight is July 25th, so I
think
can
it's
try
the
to get this
I think it's the
posted pretty
29th.
quick. Yeah.
So you got that going on. Sunday at the Cannery, there is a big memorial service and fundraiser for Carlos Fowl, who passed away. Got into a big car accident about 70-some days ago, and he passed away a couple of days ago. So they're doing a big fundraiser for that, and kind of just trying to help the family out with that. And he played with like Storyville, and he filled in with every band on the coast for bass at one time or another. I mean, he saved me. He lived a block away from the Cannery, and I had a bassist forget his bass, and it was a huge show. And he goes, "Look, man, get me a $50 bass. I don't care." So I called Carlos. I'm like, "Hey, man, get me a cheap bass." He goes, "I don't have a cheap bass." And so he brings it. He brings in this case, and it's got like 6 basses in it, and like it's got everything up to like, I mean, just unreal. And the guy's like, "I don't want to touch any of those." Like,
Right.
I can't afford the strings. And so he played on it, and he loved it. It was great. And Carlos was just that guy. But so he's got a thing at the Cannery coming up.
That's great. That's funny.
The Poorhouse is finally starting to do live music.
Is that right?
Yeah, starting Saturday the 5th. Autumn Rising's coming in, and then Night Shift. I'll be there the next Saturday, and I got 2 bands coming in from New Orleans. One's called Alter Ego, one's called America, and they're absolutely a blast.
What kind of rock are we talking about?
Oh yeah, so
Okay.
Alter Ego is more of a 90s 2000s
Okay.
kind of
I like 90s.
emos, it's just great stuff. And then America is just classic American rock. They just red, white, and blued out, and they are, from the minute they take the stage to the minute they get off, they are jumping and hollering, and probably single-handedly the best Led Zeppelin cover
Really?
I've ever seen in my life. If you get a chance, come do it. It's late night, but I'll post a lot about it, like the
Yeah, there you
videos.
go. Yeah, check out Terry McCormack's page too.
Yeah,
Facebook
TFM
and all that.
Entertainment.
So I say it again?
TFM Entertainment.
TFM Entertainment. I will make sure. I'm going to like that right now.
Yeah, you can't miss it. It's a beard with pink glasses. I mean,
You know what? I think I've seen that before.
you probably have. My big thing is come to my show. Don't come to my show, my event, whatever I have going on, but don't tell me you didn't hear about it, because I'll call you a liar.
Yeah,
Because
right. Yeah.
I annoy my friends.
Right.
I will text it. I'll text them flyers. I'll email them flyers. I make TikToks about them. we post everything.
And that's the way it should be done.
Exactly.
Get the word out.
I'll look at a band who wants to book, who wants to book in somewhere, and
I've seen your profile picture. You're doing a good job.
appreciate it.
Like,
What a handsome man.
But I tell them I'll look up like, when was your last show? Like, oh, last Friday, and I'll go on their page and I'm like, you didn't post anything about your show. Oh man, we got busy. I was like, I'm busy. I work a full-time government job, and then I do all this.
Right.
Is because I love it. I love the music. I love what I do. My life would be so much more carefree if I didn't.
Yeah.
This is not paying.
It's in your blood, though.
It is, and I love live music. I'm jealous that I can't play, a lick.
so wait, question: Are you musically inclined at all?
No, but I signed one hell of a check.
There you go.
I do the important part.
He's such a likable guy with one of his many traits.
It takes different minds and talents and personalities to put on, I would say, a good show. It, like when we see artists, it takes a different mind to do that.
That's true.
But you sometimes need that person behind you or in front of you to push you through or guide you along.
Yeah.
Because you can see there's so much talent that's undiscovered.
That's right.
And, so anyways, I commend you on everything you do, and that's amazing.
It happened like the first time I talked to Hank about it. I screwed up for the first time in 10 years last Saturday. I double booked. For the first time in 10 years, I double booked.
See, it just goes to show that can happen to anybody.
It does. And
That's
I just,
it's
I tell people, if I agree to a booking after 10 o'clock at night, just assume I'm drunk and remind me in the morning. I'm probably sitting over at Kelly's and I'm having a good time. And, I'll agree to anything when we're not Kelly's, just,
Wow.
But, so they
where they know your name.
They do know my name. I'm on that wall many times. But they sent me a selfie together. They're like, hey, I think you double booked us. I was like, well, you guys have a choice. One of you can go home and I'll pay you, or you can both stay and play a duo and I'll pay you both. I was like, I don't care. I was like, my screw up shouldn't cost you the $200, $300 that you plan on making.
Not everybody looks at it that.
So, that cost me my little bit of commissions that I make for the week. But
hey,
at least you know what? It was worth every penny of it because I got to sit there and watch them. And Joe and Zach just got to rock out together, and they know each other, and they don't get to play together very often. So they were just
you created a moment.
They were excited to do it. It was
That was
and I was just like, and I tell people, I said, if I double book you, that's on me.
Yeah,
and I will pay and own up for my mistake every single time. At least you can own up
to it. A lot of people,
they don't.
There are a lot of venues and stuff, and
you're right.
And the few venues that I got, like I said, I got Poorhouse. I work with Mangiamo's. I do some work with Ground Zero, Patio 44. I do a lot of weddings. People like to book bands last minute, like DJ.
But they don't think they just think
I'll call
I can get it.
And your best wedding bands on the Gulf Coast are booked a year out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and I had to book. I booked one of them for like $5,000 because he called me like a month before his wedding, and I had to build him a band, and that took rehearsal time.
Wow.
And there's $5,000 for his wedding a month ahead of time, and even that was still a little cheap for some of the bands that are out there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And amazing. Trust me, I'd book weddings all day, every day if I could find enough of them. But but nobody wants to play weddings because if you screw something up, they're going to remember you for life.
Yeah,
it's like being a photographer at a wedding.
Or forgetting your iPad right before the bride walks down the aisle, and you're like, oh, shit.
Well, they didn't see you sweat, did they?
No, they saw me sweat.
It's all right.
The DJ next to me, he saw what I was doing, and he was like, can I help you? I was like, do you have an iPad? He goes, yeah, but I don't have any of your music. I'm like, let me just see if this will work. Oh, that was one of my like.
He was feeling your pain.
I didn't know how I pulled up. I pulled up to my house and looked at my wife, and I was like, my iPad's in a ditch somewhere. She's like, wait, what? How'd you do it? I was like, I did it with my phone, and thank God it carried a signal. She's like, at the stables? I was like, yeah.
Did you, I have to ask on a personal note, did you use the feature of where is my iPad? I mean, was it?
So this is what's crazy, and this is me being cheap. Okay. So I had an iPad, a new generation iPad.
Mm-hmm.
And I plugged it into an outlet that was connected to my couch. So my couch had a USB cord. I plugged it in there. I was letting it charge. Well, somebody hit the power line down the road, and we had a big surge. And my new iPad fried. So what did I do? I dug through my old file cabinet. I found the original iPad 2.
With the big,
with the big 40.
Because what happened was it had a lot of my songs. Some of the songs I don't even do anymore, but it had some of those on there, and I was like, okay. And they were requesting, I think, The Way You Look Tonight. So it was like one of those old ones that I definitely had on that one. So I was like, okay, I can use this and skate by 30, 45 minutes. But I saw that all happened a week before the wedding. I could have just gone and bought a new iPad. I was like, no, I'll just see how this
I'll be
goes.
cheap and yeah.
And then put it on my toolbox and it flew out. So before it wouldn't even update anymore because it was so old. So the whole Find My iPad was not even a choice. And it just forced me to say, "Hey, go get your new iPad," which I still have.
Bite the bullet,
yeah.
and just I ask you that because I did the exact same thing. It was raining. I had a gig. I was playing Shaggy's in the past in the afternoon. This is a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I drove off with it on the top of my car. Mm-hmm. And I get to this other gig that I was playing, and I don't have an iPad, and I'm like, and there was a group of people that were there to see me, a class reunion committee that was, and I don't have it, and I am scrambling, and I'm trying to get the same thing with my phone. I'm sweating bullets, and it's just, but I have an old iPad as well. This is where the story differs with the wide port and all that stuff, and it stays in my bag just in case.
So I had that, but also my dad, when I was like 14, 15 years old, that's when iPods. This was before the iPhone.
Yeah, those square ones, like a cigarette pack?
Yeah.
With a little wheel on it?
Yeah. Right.
I had one of those.
Wow.
And I had to use one of those one night because it had a headphone jack.
That's right.
And you hear me changing songs. And I was like, and people were looking at me, I was like, must be a bad chord. But I pulled it off. So those old little gadgets that you're like, you know what, this is obsolete.
Good thing you kept them.
I am all about 2 is 1 and 1 is none.
Yeah.
Eric Rollins, Papa Bear, does karaoke all over the coast. He had he used to keep an extra laptop at the cannery because he had one crash one time. And I was like, dude, we'll keep it here. And he did. And it went bad one day. And we pulled it out, plugged it in. And
boy, that
bada bing, bada boom.
You just breathe that sigh of relief. It's like, thank heaven.
Just like with the drum set,
You're right.
Hey, I'll pull it out. I mean, you go to some of my venues, I keep extra mics. I keep, cords. You forget something.
Moral of the story.
Double up,
prepare.
Or triple up even.
Yeah.
Prepare, check, double up, check, prepare, check again.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
That's right.
Anything can happen. I had a band Saturday. They borrowed one of the Bose towers from a friend, and they forgot the freaking power cord. I don't know if the friend they borrowed from forgot to hand it to them or they forgot to load it. But either way, I was like, so they weren't playing with it. They were playing their old stuff. I was like, guys, why didn't you call me? They're like, what are you going to do? I said, get one out of my trunk.
Yeah.
I could have been here while you were setting up.
Those are common cords you can buy at Best Buy.
I would have taken one off of a TV hanging on the wall.
Exactly.
I'd rather not have the TV playing, Those cords
Right.
come on everything now. Speakers and...
I still have the one. It was the Bose L...
Oh, yeah.
the L1
Model 2. That's the one. It was the one that was like 2015, but it's the best. I can tell you how much money that thing's made me. Like that's
those
one of
things
the
are
best
awesome.
investments.
Put on the table for the family.
And it's the type, if it crashed or something happened, I will leave that moment or the next day and go buy a brand new one because they're that good.
Right.
They're very
everything
dependable.
is so compact. I mean, Hank's got like the most compact show I've seen recently.
I have the Bose. I have the Bose one S1 as well, but I also have the EV, and it's Bluetooth, and it looks like a little monitor, but the throw on it, the sound,
it's insane.
and it's got
is that a 10 or is it a 12? Is it 10?
It's a 10. It's
is
a
it
10.
10?
But it's so lightweight and portable, and it's just. I do it for a lot of venues. I do it outside at I play Shaggy's, and I'll do it on the deck, and it's loud. It's like it throws. I mean, you save on your back, you save on money. I mean, it's awesome. It's great that technology has gotten to that point.
Oh yeah, and like when we talk about doubling up and thinking contingencies,
Right.
over at Flamingo, you play outside on an outside stage. It's we've got giant water coolers out there now, evaporative water coolers for the stage.
Yeah.
For all the
Nice.
bands.
Nice.
Because I mean it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And if they're gonna have one on the hostess who's standing there seating people, well then the band who's up there's jamming needs to be a little cool too. So
Sure.
I talked the company into buying one, but excuse me. What's great about that venue is it's got its own sound system.
Yeah.
I insisted on a house sound system. I was
Well-
like, I don't want to deal with people's, 10-inch Yamahas they bought from eBay or the Radio Shack speakers or whatever happens.
The ones that have the lights from.
Oh God, the ions
I
you get from Sam's.
But
They're not
everybody,
bad.
but no, they're not bad. But everybody is on a level playing field.
They are. And it always makes me realize how much musicians don't know any other board but the one they've been using for 15 years.
That's true.
They all use the same one.
Dude, I try to use the digital board that we have.
I love digital boards.
I try to use that with Coast. They were playing a benefit, and I was like, "Here, I'm going to bring my board. I got the Bose F1s." And I get there, and they were like, "Okay, we'll try this." And I plug them in. I mean, y'all sound great. And then what happened was, well, hey, I can't really hear myself in the monitor. So I turned the piano guy. Well, I can't hear myself. So
everybody goes up.
By the end of the night on the stage, it was just like, and I was like, y'all, they didn't like the change. They were like, they want to be able to just like do their knobs.
They want knobs and they want little faders.
Yeah, it's faders.
But what's great about Flamingo Stage is if it pours down rain, that's it, game over. Well, I installed a little XLR like switch box, and it literally has a sun sticker and a rain sticker. And if it's sunny, you put it on sun and you play on stage. Mm-hmm. And then if it pours down rain, you go underneath the building, like where everybody else used to play out under there.
That's right.
You put it on the rain side, you plug in the XLRs, and you just start playing again instantly. I mean, I had 2 guys on stage, 2 amps, 2 pedal boards, and it took us 7 minutes to get them from the stage, fully set up, hooked up, sound checked, and playing again.
That's great. Smart.
Wow.
Very smart. Very good.
With the switch of a button.
And see, I like with the Scarlet Pearl, and then also sing at Hotel Legends, like they have house systems.
Mm-hmm.
So lately I have not had, and I haven't been booking private gigs because I can't book things so far out in advance and guarantee, like weddings I'm not taking right now because if Mia gets sick,
right.
So it's really nice to have, like, it's almost hard to go back to play anywhere that doesn't have a house system where I'm plugging. If I have to bring all my gear and stuff, man, I'm doubling.
You get spoiled fast.
Oh, dude, my musicians, I've noticed, like especially Flamingo, they get there later and later because, like, I get off my main job at 4:00, so I was like, I'll meet you guys over at Flamingo at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get you plugged in. 90% of the people I deal with have a guitar and a mic, maybe a pedal board. And it's just like now they've got plug in. I gotta see you guys tomorrow.
Right. That's how
with a couple of minutes tops.
Yeah, I usually show up about 15 minutes before my gig starts, just because.
If
it's not necessary to be there.
If not, I'll get there. If I get there 30 minutes or 45 minutes, I might. Okay, I'm already good. I plug my iPad in. My mic sounds good. I'm gonna go have a drink of wine.
Well, like 4:15 will call me. Hey man, where you at? I'm like driving towards that way. What do you want? Like, go get some food. Like, why are you bothering me? You have 2 cords to plug in.
Well, I just want to make sure it sounds good.
And then I still have some musicians that insist on bringing their own systems.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're still plugging into mine and turning yours down.
There's one guy at Hotel Legends. He'll bring his whole Bose system in there. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
it's not necessary.
It's just.
Is it like a security blanket? Like it's my stuff.
I know how to use it.
Right. It is.
You know.
Yeah.
But at first, now I'm not gonna lie, I felt like that. Now, not at Pearl because they literally cloned the system I had and put that in a restaurant.
Right.
But the other one at Hotel Legends, it's like it was 2 speakers. They're not Bose. They're some off-brand, and there was like this. But I never knew the beauty of Bluetoothing your iPad to the sound system.
There was
no
nice
cord. There was no cord. Now Bluetooth. The only problem I have, and I know there's a quick fix to it, is everything's in mono. So like some of my tracks, you don't hear the horn, so I don't even play those songs. So I'm sure there's like a switch. I just haven't.
Could you run like a stereo Y?
I don't know what that means. I'm not a tech guy.
He wants to get
from this country.
He wants to get rid of the cables, man. That was the whole point.
But we want to hear the horns.
I want a board on solar. I don't even want to plug in a cord.
I had that happen on a Dr. John song. It was Right Place, Wrong Time, and it was stereo, but I'm in mono in somebody's system, and it was that same thing. It'd be like where there's supposed to be that but it was like.
Yeah, so like I was playing All or Nothing at All by Frank Sinatra, and you hear the drums. You don't hear the horns or anything. So it's
just different. But a lot of people don't notice it. You notice it because you hear it all the time.
Drives you
well, I was like an idiot because when the horns would hit, I would like throw my hands out there, and it was just really nothing there. So it looks like I'm just like jiving. There's nothing behind me. It's just a drum, and I'm off beat, and I'm like, shoot, I got to be still.
You're like a bad Jerry Lewis.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
and like What a Wonderful World is like it's all highs. There's no lows. So it's
there's no.
DJ Todd Langlaness was there one night and he heard it. Everybody else was like clapping. They liked it. They couldn't tell, but DJ was like, he walked up to me and was like, hey man, where's your lows? I was like, well, for that track, it's in stereo. He goes, oh, I got you. So I've learned the tracks where not to play, but I really need to just fix it so I can play the whole list because there are some good songs that I'd skip because of that reason. Anyway, side note, sorry.
Yeah.
But no, and that's what it is. But you got to remember, I was in the military so long and public speaking, and I got to give awards and I got to give speeches.
Clean it up.
So I'm really good at keeping myself calm.
Yeah.
I just don't like to.
Yeah.
So
I can play the game.
Before we sign off, is there any kind of, I always ask this, is there anything you want to, any words of inspiration for young artists, young promoters, anybody out there trying to get into the music scene, whether they're an artist or promoter or any restaurant owner, anything? Is there any words of wisdom you want to give them?
I go back to my military days with this. Find you a mentor. And that's all I can really say is go to these open mics, find these guys and girls who have been doing this, here on the coast forever. They know the ins, they know the outs. This isn't a cutthroat business down here where everybody is out to get everybody else and undercutting everybody else. There are a few, but no, everybody down here is so willing to help out all the other musicians, and
That's true.
And they realize that these young musicians are what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be the ones to keep it going and keeping everything fresh. And I have there's a local girl who come up to me and she's like, "Hey," she's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "You're not ready for your own show, but work with these people." And she's been doing it, and she is so much better. I'm about ready to work with her and get her a little hour and a half show, somewhere with somebody else who wants another little hour and a half. But go to the open mics, have fun, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't be so serious about it that you learn to hate it, that it becomes more of a job or just that it does a passion.
Yep.
No, that's good.
I like that.
I like
that.
it too.
I like that. Find
That's
you a
good.
mentor.
I mean, there's so many good ones here on the Gulf Coast. I mean, and everybody does a little bit of everything. I mean, Hank's awesome with his tracks, and there's 5 guys on the coast that do it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you want to do when you want that more of that full band sound, but doing a solo show. Get with one of those guys. I mean, there's him and Chris Uchin and Chris Gavin, Mike Collette. Anderson, love Anderson.
Anderson's great.
He's the
a good
Denzel. He's the Brazilian Denzel Washington.
He's the Denzel.
He's the Brazilian Denzel.
I can't wait to tell him that.
I tell him that all the time. That's how I describe him. And everybody's like, no. Oh, I see.
He's always he's like, "Hello, Jesse. How are you doing?
Hello.
And he's the nicest guy, man.
He is a nice guy.
He's never in a bad mood.
I was like, "How are you kids going, man? I can't keep up, man. I can't keep up."
Yeah.
Man, I worked 6 gigs today, man. I started at the bakery this morning, and then I had to be over at the elementary school. I played for the kids.
He played 4 nursing homes and a chicken farm, and now he's here. It's great, man.
Oh,
but I'll tell you, hands down, the most giggingest person on the Gulf
He
Coast.
works constantly.
He's a hustler.
Him, but the one that gigs more than him is Graham Ray.
I'm about to say Graham Ray. Yeah.
Graham Ray gigs more than anybody, and Matt Schnocky and Amber are not far behind him.
He's always like, so I'll look at his Facebook. He's like,
8 gigs this week, 9 gigs this
8
week.
I was like, go up on your price, dude. Like, my God,
Dude, he's right there with everybody else. He's not doing $100 gigs.
But this guy, dude, he's always busy.
Yeah, that's
great. But he plays at some of the nursing homes.
He does play the nursing, and they love that.
Yeah, he plays. But what's crazy about it too is I don't know anybody else around here who's playing a full show with him and a fiddle, and he can take out a guitar and play the guitar as well.
Don't forget the harmonica, because he'll pull that out too.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's kind of like in his own little niche, because the fiddle is very impressive for anybody to play, or violin, or whatever you call it. And
you know what the difference is between a fiddle and a violin?
What is
about
it?
$30 a week.
No. A violin's got strings and a fiddle's got strings.
There you go. Well, no, but he's so power to Graham. And,
absolutely. Graham's,
I had a battle the band solo contest, for all the solo artists to come out and do a battle of the bands at the cannery, and they all came out and rocked it out. Lonnie Kilgore came down from Nashville and played. You had 6 string, you had Anderson. Well, then Sammy Six was supposed to be in it, but he had to back out last minute. And so I was like, who do I call to fill the spot? And I'm like, I really don't want to do this to everybody, but hey, Graham, you busy? So Graham shows up, and him and Ty are playing after the show anyway. He's like, I'll just come,
early,
and I'll come do a quick set. And he comes in and he just loops his fiddle, loops his guitar, starts playing his fiddle, and everybody's just like, yeah, this isn't even fair. But
did he win?
Oh yeah, he won. But then he donated all the money to the Center for Nonviolence for the music program. So it was bittersweet. But once everybody saw Graham walk in, it was just like that moment. It was like, shit.
You know what? That would be cool to do a big. I mean, we might have done this, but I'm out of the loop. A really serious, good money competition. You win, you get several $1,000s. You get we'll sign you at some different places to play at or whatever, and then I don't know, just something like that.
That was $1,000.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was $1,000. The shirt, we were supposed to have a full on another Battle of the Band solo, right before I left. And Sweetwater, I called him and said, "Hey guys, they sent me a $500 gift card to give away. They sent me 50
Hell
t-shirts."
yeah.
And Sweetwater doesn't like coming off nothing but free candy.
Yeah,
And,
I know. I always
but
get that
I
free
tell you,
candy.
man,
Keeps my bit of honey addiction
I've got
going.
the
That's right.
best Sweetwater guy in the world, man. He is freaking phenomenal. He comes to my birthday parties. He flies down from Indiana.
Wait. What's his name?
Ben Nielsen.
I got Josh Sackett.
Okay, yeah.
Josh is my boy. He will. I will need something. I'll look at him like I need something, and then he'll go. Like he'll just email me, like he knows what I'm thinking. I'm
Yeah.
like, shoot, he knows. He's like, we got a really good financing. I was like, yeah, I know.
And I tell him all the time because I don't like answering numbers from Fort Wayne because it's always some weird thing. But then there's also that 50-50 chance that
Could be Sweetwater.
it's Sweetwater. So I was like, dude, just text me from your phone to tell me you're calling me, and then
Yeah.
like you got each other's personal numbers. We call him bullcrap all the time. Like I love my Sweetwater guy, man.
My
He is
guy's
the
Tyler
best.
Moore.
Tyler Moore.
He
You know, there's
takes
like
it.
400 of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there really?
Have you ever been up there?
No, but I've seen pictures of the
Okay,
place.
so
it's
it's
unbelievably
45 minutes
huge.
from my hometown in Ohio.
Wow.
So when I went up there,
It's huge.
When I went up there, I took the company car for the cannery, and I made Matt nervous. Like he's like, I cannot turn Terry loose in Sweetwater with the company card. And we bought it. I spent a little bit of money, but it was absolutely phenomenal. And
when you say 400, you're talking about 400 like agents or 400 stores?
like 400 people, like
That's-
eight, like
It's
yeah.
one store.
it's one store.
oh, wow.
It's one
It's
store, and
mammoth.
it's a warehouse that's probably the size of Walmart.
Ooh.
And you go in, you got guitar room, drum room.
They got studio.
Dude, they have a lighting
recording.
room. Yeah, they got studio recording in there. They have a huge concert hall in there that you can go play in.
Sweet.
People come all the time.
I like buying from them more than the Guitar
I do
Center,
too.
Musician's Friend, anybody. Now, I was always like a buy local, but local can't keep up.
Well, there isn't
with that.
local.
There isn't.
There is,
That's-
but they
I-
hardly. And I hate saying it because I don't want to, downplay it here on the coast or anything. Because one of my friends works at one of them, but it's just like anytime I go in there, it's like it's slim pickings.
Slim pickings, and it's not like
And it's
And
not
I don't
their,
care about
it's
the little
also
extra
not their
costs.
fault because
No, it's not.
They don't have the ability to keep up with the inventory of a Sweetwater or
No,
whatever.
they
Who,
can't.
who
They
can
can't.
just
Like Sweetwater, I can
we can
call
order-
him, and he'll overnight it to me. Sometimes at a really nice price.
they've sent me the Bose F1, and it took them 2 days. It
Yeah.
was delivered to my door. These big heavy things, no shipping costs. I'm like, what?
yeah.
I was like, thank you.
My guy's so good, I swear sometimes. He's like, oh, I shipped it yesterday. I'm like, I just ordered it today. He's like, yeah, I knew you needed it. Like, I swear he's that good, man. It's freaking great. Like, he's just like, he knows what I want. But
Yeah.
there's times I'll call him, and if he don't know the answer, he will find it for me.
Yeah.
And
It's-
Maybe we need I would Sweetwater. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Talk
they
to
should
Josh.
sponsor us.
I'll send them our channel and be like, Sweetwater, for
put on a really, a
give me
nice
some free
Battle of the
T-shirts.
Bands
and we'll
contest.
plug you or whatever. I don't care. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we've got the facilities for it now because Ground Zero's got that huge stage now.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ground Zero, the stage, man.
Yeah.
It's- whew,
Maybe we
that's-
should bring Afro Man back.
Yeah, gotta love that guy, huh?
we need to go trending. All right. Well, I'm
Because you
Jesse
got
Hill.
high.
I'm Hank Berman.
And I'm Terry McCormack.
Terry, thank you for joining us today.
My
And-
pleasure, guys.
and
I had a
I'm-
blast.
Man, this is great. We're gonna have to have you again, and also with some of the artists that you work with and stuff.
Oh, I would love to bring some. We
Yeah,
cut up
mention High
so
Note.
much. Like,
Mention
I
High
bring
Note.
one rock, one country. Bring a
Very-
little bit of blues in here. We'll
that would be fun.
Yeah.
we can get a little bit of genre from
Hey, we
everybody.
can have a
Grab
cover
some
charge.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
grab some guitars, whatever,
Yeah,
and do a little playing in the middle of it. And
That's awesome. Well, everybody, thank y'all. Until next time, this is the High Note Podcast.